You know, this day is not going too well for me so far. I've just started the stream and it just stopped randomly with a random error. It said error, the stream has ended. And this is not something that's never happened before. This is actually something that I'm kind of familiar with as an issue, but it's so silly and annoying. I don't know why it happens. I'm wondering if I should move to somewhere where I can potentially have better internet. I don't know if it's just an issue of internet. Fuck. I've got everything set up here, but I'm gonna need to move it. Good morning. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need to move everything to be honest. Because I don't know what's wrong with this. Mm-mm-mm. There, right, okay. Okay. Seems fine, no lag, sounds perfect. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it is right now, but there was just an error that just ended the stream out of nowhere. So I'm going to hope that doesn't occur again, too quickly, at least. If we can at least get through an hour or something without it having that silly issue, that'd be preferable. Alright, have we got any other nice diagrams in this video? Because that's what I'm here for. So, for those of you who don't know, the main update from last night is that Reform did very, very well in England. They were very, very popular. And I was just saying there how I think this is probably the best victory they're going to have. I think going forwards, I don't think Reform will do so well because they'll have more competition from either side as the right wing sort of strengthened and built out for this new era, which is the Tories and Restore. Um, let's see. I think there was a video I saw about the this is the one. Good Morning Britain. Yeah, this is I think it's BBC, right? Good Morning Britain. I don't watch TV normally, to be honest, so it's not something I generally tend to know about. What the it's just a black screen. Come on. Gonna have to bear with me a minute with my technical situation here. But we're gonna get up a clip from this TV program. It's an English TV program called Good Morning, and they it's like how would you describe Good Morning Britain to a foreigner? It's so funny how BBC, when Reform and Brexit first came along, they treated them as these fringe people that they hated and they shat on and they just mocked and ridiculed. So it's kind of funny watching. Oh, this is ITV. So ITV is the English version of STV, um, which is kind of more of a. They're less. BBC claims to be non biased. That's what they try and aim for, and they do so by keeping themselves very much in the mainstream view. ITV are known to represent much more of a greater range of alternative views than the BBC generally are willing to. You want no more Starmer when he gets the boot. Will be nice to see him squirming. Yeah, I don't think Starmer's got a long lifespan really. Um, he's going to be booted out, but it's a question of what leadership we trust to actually deal with it. Is it good to bus backwards near a football ground on match day? Oh, did the stream cut off before I answered that last time? But yeah, I think if you're a good bagpiper, you should play in public as much as possible. Um, if you're not, you should stay at home and practice as much as possible. That's what I do. I stay at home and practice as much as possible, and only go out and busk when I consider it a sort of thing I feel obliged to do. I love these poses. Did they ask them to look angry? It's like, Okay, I want you to. We're gonna take a picture of you. I want you to do your mean face. This is my ITV journalist profile picture. What do you guys think? Do I fit into this picture? Can you not zoom in? There we go. How mean can you look for ITV? Have you had any negative busking experiences? Yes. Yes. Yes, I have. Usually by drunk men who have been out on a bender. That's the types of people, because you know they're feeling amped up and ready to fight and shit. So that's why. Actually, I don't want to shit too hard on these expressions. By the way, I think it's pretty cool. I think it feels very sincere, and I appreciate some sincerity because right now it's the case. You're not British, but it needs done. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a whole that's a whole other thing, I suppose, isn't it?
Cardiff, and of course,
At least the reporting here is better than that national live stream. Like they just maybe it's one of their first times doing it or something. Maybe it's their first election night. Hey, look at that. So Greens and Lib Dems are the only ones who have gone up. This is not the overall season. This is just the gains and losses. Besides Reform, who are just gone up hugely. Wow. But I think pessimism in these local areas and people saying, oh, Reform aren't doing enough might benefit the right wing parties. But to be honest, I feel like Reform can get through enough with the argument that, oh, well, the right, the current establishment, they're the reason we can't do anything and they're restricting us, which is obviously what the SNP uses. When they're still the incumbent government, they're able to push the issues over time. You can argue how accurate this is or not, but they're able to push the issues over time onto the UK government, which benefits them in the elections. I think we're going to see them struggling a lot without that following independence. It's going to be a challenge for the SNP. You really hope we in Scotland decide to move away from the toxic SNP. Interesting use of words toxic for the SNP, because I think most people who are the most cynical about the SNP would use words like weak or words like trying to please all or ineffective. Saying that they are toxic is an interesting one. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to that they've done that you would consider to be toxic. But yeah, anyway, an interesting one.
Dramatically different fortunes that the parties
But what's this
are
about?
facing. Starkly, the wins and that we have.
A man has been charged after allegedly throwing Andrew Mountbatten Windsor
Been seeing. Have a look at
near his home.
which shows the wins and losses.
Bro,
So
what
far.
what a mental situation. Eh? Some guy's gone up to his home and
that the parties
going
are
after the
facing.
prince,
So
the
you can
pedo
see
prince.
big losses for Labour, both seats and councils. So far, they've actually lost more than
Steve
half of the
Attenborough says he's
seats
being
that they were
completely
defending.
overwhelmed.
Significantly, that includes in areas
I like
like
these
Northern
news things at the
Midlands,
bottom,
which
actually. It's
should be
quite
our
cool.
heartlands.
Should I do this? Should I have something like going along the bottom during my stream
from a baseline
saying
of
like
basically zero.
Robin
That
Aldershaw is a
the verdict from
beautiful
voters. It's
man?
up to MPs and ministers to decide what the sentence is going to be for the Prime Minister.
Alright. Like a weird situation we're in as a country whereby it's just so strange. I mean, I think Keir Starmer's greatest weakness, in my opinion, and this is very controversial, his greatest weakness, in my view, is just being terrible at presenting to the nation. I think none of his policies are as bad as his public appearance. And when we're in a situation where the nation feels that they want to see strength being projected,
for the Prime Minister. We've already had his deputy this
take a look
morning.
at the situation to be in, especially for people like him who are sort of altruistic nerds that have got through their career by reading things out very well. I mean, that's what he's been reported to do within his cabinet. Is he'll be speaking to them and he'll just read out something. Sometimes as long as 4 hours, he'll be reading things to them just to try and force an outcome to come out of it, which is quite a slightly unique approach, certainly compared to what we've seen with the Conservatives in the past, where they were much more jabby and going about and sort of having this kind of fast moving attitude of doing these radical changes. Starmer's approach is very unusual to me.
Flight behind the scenes there.
By the way, I don't know if you saw the stuff about the hereditary peers going out, but that was another good example of government taking more power, and we're going to see a lot more of that, I think, in the coming years. It's the sort of thing that I don't think reform's going to undo it. I think it's just one of these progression things. It's like digital IDs, where it's almost the consensus among the political classes that even if we dislike this thing, it's the inevitable progress that we're going to see. And unfortunately, it's going to lead to a lack of everything that's unique. Like, England doesn't know what the fuck England is anymore, and they're going to throw away everything that makes them them in exchange for short-term effectiveness. And we're just going to see a continual pattern of that. In my view, a degeneration. I suppose it sounds a bit like defeatist and pessimistic, but I'm not English, so it's not directly my culture. We lost our monarchy a long time ago, so it's not a fight for Scotland to be having, I suppose. But it is a little bit annoying. Do people make requests when you're busking? And how do you deal with the drunkens giving you grief? Um, how do I deal with the drunkens giving me grief? I usually shout at them, to be honest. Maybe not the best method, but that's what I have. Besides my bagpipes, is my voice. I'm not very strong or good at fighting, so uh, that's what I do. I try and find an opportunity to embarrass them in front of other people, but it's not very easy to get through to a drunk person. It's a problem. Um, yeah, it's just got to sort of stick up with it. Obviously, it's not something that happens all the time, but I just, the reason I brought it up is because it has happened a few times. As a person who at one point busked several nights every week of the year, so I busked a lot of times. Um, I would say it's not something that you're likely to face an issue with on a general normal day. Outside a football game, especially outside an old firm game, it's a particularly likely issue. Generally speaking, though, if you do want to busk outside a game, busking outside a, a national playoff is a much better idea. A Scotland game or a rugby game where Scotland are playing or Glasgow Warriors are playing, I think you're more likely generally to get success. But you're also more likely to have competition. Something you're going to have to battle with. Local level issues. When you have, I think this is a really important note, guys. When you have party leaders who don't pay attention to local issues, a party like the Labour Party, which used to be for the working people and is now full of young careerists, that just makes it very, very difficult for local people to feel like they're being represented and their issues are actually being resolved. And what does that lead to? It leads to a populist government who are in charge of geopolitical issues. This is why we need strong subsidiaries. We need, in this kind of election, these are local elections in England, I believe. So it's basically like our equivalent of council elections, I think. Reform gaining council seats. There's a council election. So it kind of, it's the sort of place where a party like Reform, who are populist and represent what the local people want, makes sense. However, as a nation, you kind of want something a bit different. You want not necessarily what the local people think feels best for them. You want what is pragmatically best for the nation. and that's a lot tougher for people to decide. And unfortunately, it's a difficult balance to play within populism. Within democracy, is that you get populism coming through as a response to people not being represented in their local areas on local issues. Does that make sense? Do you get what I'm trying to say there? I'm trying to say politicians not paying attention to their local constituents, not listening to the people who they represent. That feels like a big issue in the last 20 years. And the response to that is then you get a populist party like Reform that pretty much throws all practicalities out the window and just takes in all the things that people say that they want to see in society. Going on with the clothing, I don't know quite what it is. Is this just a trend in England? Urban England, I suppose. People wearing very tight clothes that hug their skin very tightly. I know that this seems like it might be irrelevant to this issue, but why is this being so seeming so common here? Like, what's going on with all these reporters? And I just think it's humiliating for somebody. Like, it's the sort of thing a teenager might reasonably wear. Here's a young person who's wearing a very reasonable outfit, but it's the sort of thing you might see teenagers wearing, where they want to wear clothes that's maybe revealing and hugs their body tightly because they want to get attraction from the opposite sex on a night out. It just doesn't seem like an appropriate thing for somebody with a little bit more class and a little bit more maturity in that than that to be wearing while they're presenting to the world on the news. What's going on? Need in Britain is that they elect, the government chooses a candidate who deals with geopolitical issues. So it's sort of like how the EU works, where you've got kind of second election, but the government chooses a candidate who deals with geopolitical issues, and then a cabinet that's kind of a mixed representation of like the British front, sort of representing defense issues, big world issues. How do we negotiate with other countries? They're represented at the G20, all these kinds of things. Maybe like the king chooses it with them. I don't know. I know they're pushing for kind of a new civil service position. So besides just the cabinet secretary, they want a sort of chief operations executive type character. So the equivalent of that, that would basically make the civil service run more effectively. So they're looking for kind of expanding new leadership positions, and maybe seeing as the prime minister is seen as the person who's responsible for the British people. Maybe we need a prime minister who deals with local issues and responds in a populist way, but then an additional person who represents to the whole world. Because what I'm hearing here is they're just separate issues, and people on a local level are very rarely voting on a basis of the world stage. I think in Scotland, we're more voting of, the constitutional issue and relationships with tariffs and Trump. In England, it seems they're voting on very much home. Andy Burnham, if you look at any social media video of Andy Burnham, I believe that's his name, the Manchester mayor, look at any social media video of him and look at the comments. It's all saying, free this person, free this person. So there's some sort of person that's been arrested, I'm not sure, or something like that, or detained. I don't know. But if you look, everybody hates him because of this one local Manchester level issue that I don't understand or know about. And everybody's really, really mad about it. People are theorizing that Andy is a potential contender to Keir Starmer for the great throne of Prime Minister. But yeah, that's not happening. Have you had any party reps knocking on your door asking who you're voting for? No, I haven't. And I saw one walking about town, and she maybe just saw the poster in my window and decided not to bother, because there's a poster in my window, not my poster, a family member's poster, which is their representing the party which she was standing for. I'm surprised. I quite like speaking to people who are doing canvassing, as it's called, by the way, as they call it, canvassing, when they go around the doors speaking to people. I like speaking to them. I enjoy sort of challenging them on their issues, and sort of sometimes, obviously I get a lot of things wrong. I say a lot of things are wrong here. I don't know who the fuck Andy Burnham is. I don't really know much about this guy. I don't really know much of his issue. I just seen he's hated. I've made mistakes. I made a number of mistakes in my video with Gen Z, where I made statements about. Uh, I thought Rupert Lowe was in Advanced UK. I thought I made incorrect statements about this drawing I did here. This is my drawing I did, and other people were correcting me on incorrect factual statements about this drawing on my wall. I thought it was a Homo sapien from Tanzania, and it's an early ancestor of the Homo sapiens found in Ethiopia. So it's fairly a number of things I get wrong. Nonetheless, I speak to these politicians, and they themselves are completely clueless on a lot of things. And when you ask them certain questions about energy, about AI infrastructure, about pressing world level geopolitical issues that their party are inevitably going to have to face, they're usually surprisingly quite clueless. Unfortunately, this lighting is just terrible, isn't it? I don't know what we can do. Just hold the light right in front of my fucking face like that. I can't do anything about it. There's no way to get this. I'm gonna need to reposition the camera and everything, I think. Hang on. Give me a minute to fix this camera. This is just terrible. It's embarrassing. There's no reason that I should have such a poorly set up lighting system. If I face like this way, let's just do a tester. If I face this way, is it better? I mean, it's very flat, but yeah, it's better. Right, let's try and make that work. Make that happen. Nice. Now we're making use of the natural daylight, I suppose, as well. So I'll move this thing over there as well. What are you saying? Homo sapiens and sometimes hard to written an answer. That man come from ape, just skip for single mark. Yeah, so it's a woman actually, but it's not a. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just the situation. It's fine. It's fine. I make mistakes. Obviously, it was an inaccuracy, but I think the Rupert Lowe one was more embarrassing because I've actually repeated that a number of times, and it's not true. You know, simply isn't. Let's try and tilt this up. I need to see. Let's see a little bit.
Well, have a look at last year.
I don't.
Last year we far exceeded
I don't often watch the telly,
thought,
but here we are.
It can't continue to be a fluke or a
Got the
process.
telly going,
I would honestly
and
say you're witnessing an historic shift in British politics.
let's see. Is there anything came in? I've heard enough of this guy. I heard enough from fucking numpties here. 940 war counting is underway. There we go. Got some nice pictures here. Maybe the National can do something. The peach ballots are huge, by the way. I don't know if you guys are Scottish, if you voted yesterday, but the peach ballots were just these great big long things. Really enormous. The thing is with them being so big, is people have to fold them so much to put them into the ballot box that they're going to be unfolding all this shit. It's going to be mental for them. Yo, what the hell's going on with viewership right now? It went into 0. What's going on? Anyway, polling persuasion. There have been 4 cases of potential personation in Glasgow constituencies, election officials have said. Personation is an offence which sees someone vote while claiming to be another person. Isn't that impersonation? What does personation mean? I've never heard this before. 3 cases were recorded in the Glasgow South Side seat, with 1 further in the Glasgow Easterhouse and Springburn constituency. Election bosses will sift through the ballots to remove them and pass to police, but the votes will be counted. You know, I was not even asked for my ID at the polling station. I think the main reason they wouldn't ask me for my ID is because they know me personally. They know I live here. I've lived here since my childhood. You know, they sort of... I'm a familiar person to them, I suppose, so maybe that's, I suppose, a reasonable justification for them to not need to say anything. So have we got any votes coming in yet? Attention is on whether the SNP can secure another term of power. Check our live charts. I think the SNP are probably going to win. I think the question is more about Reform, Labour and the Tories are all going to be vying for power. I'm sort of predicting the Labour are going to do worse than people expect. We'll have to see. Who you vote, Reform or Restore? So most in Scotland, Restore is not really an option for most people in Scotland yet. I don't know if it will be in the future, but in this election, they're not a main contender on the ballot by any means anywhere, to my understanding. Restore are the more right-wing alternative to Reform. They're sort of less... I would say Reform are populist right, and Restore are contrarian right, which is obviously why they have the backing of Elon Musk and people who are just feeling like they don't care too much about who wins, but they really want to see remigration, mass deportations, all these sorts of things. They're voting for Restore Britain, and that's the kind of consensus for a lot of people in that position. They think Restore is the only option. They're backed by the leader Rupert Lowe, who used to be friendly with Farage and all these people, and is not. Right, let's see. Alright, we're not getting any results. Fortunately, because I listened to Nigel Farage for longer. Restore for you, not flippy floppy Farage at all. Constitution for the solution. Over the other parties, it's consistently... Oh... Sort of like having a little bit of a nice kind of orange backlining is quite fun. Playful. SNP said we'll seek another referendum. Yeah, no shit. They're the pro-independence party. That's what they're being voted for. You unleashed an invasion on the UK. You're lying. Tories, Reform and Labour clash. Feisty Daily Telegraph TV. Alright, well. Yeah. Yeah. Look at my recommended videos. A video from Togi, who's a sort of, he's a friend of a bodybuilder I know. He just does loads of drugs and he's a complete degenerate. He gambles all the time. There you go. Gamblers Anonymous. The Greatest Hits. Patrick Christie's delivers a scathing analysis. Local elections in Modern Britain. Zach Polanski. Yeah. Love me King Buck Charlie. Scottish Jacobite song. How to be a thinker doer at the same time. Breaking the social contract. Ah, I didn't sleep a lot last night. I'm heading to Edinburgh tomorrow. I might leave tonight late. Because last time what I did was I went up and I went camping. So I get a late bus. I go up. I get a nice little cozy spot in a patch of trees to go and camp. And then I wake up the next morning and go and get the bus in the morning up to Edinburgh. And it means I can get to Edinburgh in good time. I get to sleep outside and all these things. But it's obviously an issue of I have a habit generally of neglecting my sleep, and it's detrimental, I think, to lots of things. When I work out and everything, there's clearly hormonal issues at play, and it's possible that my negligence towards sleep is a part of that. Has there been any restore results in Great Yarmouth yet? You guys all want to see restore. Let's see. Let's see if I just put restore itself in the news. Have you noticed the Restore Britain logo kind of looks like the blue card logo? It's kind of the same colours as the disability. Doesn't seem there's anything being said about restore. Oh wait, you can see this on the government site? Yo, what? Reform are outperforming Restore. Where even are they? They're not even on here. What? Oh, he's... Oh! Rupert Lowe is coming under Reform UK. I see. Okay, so that must be because... Oh, this is the fucking... This is the wrong... This is the general election. Fuck's sakes. I was so confused there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know about that part of the world. Guys, this is England, alright? You're asking about... Restore's the only option. You'd rather have the Greens than Nigel the Snake. Yeah, it's just a tough call, I suppose. Oh, I need to delete the previous live stream because that was an embarrassment. It's not a good start to the day. But restore is not even an option at all in Scotland, you know, so... Yet. Yeah, our Q&A last night was, Why do we have day in there? We don't need the word day. It says nothing. Last night we went for 4.5 hours. Just because we're just having good chats, I think. It was just productive conversations. And we had reasonably good viewership too, compared to normal at least. Yeah, 34 hours for 4.5. Like, I would normally get about 50 hours for a 15-hour live stream. So having 34 hours for just 4.5 hours is really good. That's the type of thing I would normally get for a live stream that was twice as long, like 8 hours long. That's good. And my monetization results are finally starting to update. Just 2,274 now. So this video that's doing very well on the Muslim call to prayer issue is going to be talking about thoughts on the current Scottish political landscape. How well do you think the parties will do in Scotland, and is there a chance the SNP could now get another referendum? Scotland getting another referendum, I think, will only happen if Farage is because it's going to be Farage that backs it. Starmer wouldn't allow a referendum. Farage might back a referendum, which seems crazy because he's obviously very pro-unionist. I think he's going to give it a lot of time. But Malcolm Offord, so in Reform UK, there's a lot of ex-Tories who are quite unionist, whereas Malcolm Offord and a number of people within the party are, I wouldn't say separatist, but they are more nationalist. He is more pro-Scotland, and he's more strong in establishing that aspect of his beliefs. So another referendum is very possible. Danny Scott is saying we don't need another referendum. Well, I don't know exactly what your approach and perspective is towards the constitutional issue, but I think as of now it's clear that the major unionist parties are not answering key questions about Scotland, which is when will Scotland receive benefit for creating a surplus, which I think is a pretty important question. Obviously, the separatist answer is not ideal on its own. The separatist answer is let's get down on our knees and beg to the English, which doesn't really appeal to me too much either. You love your herbs. Manner from heaven. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. This David guy. What do you mean herbs? I don't know, like greens or something, or I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean, herbs. You don't like any political party. Hi. Yeah, a lot of people feel this way. And a lot of people feel very divided. They don't feel like any party is directly speaking about the issues that they really care about. Or all the parties are speaking about them, like waiting times, yet none of them are showing strong evidence that they're going to deliver on those promises. Everybody's saying they're going to decrease waiting times in Scotland. That's the promise of every single political party. Probably in England too, to be honest. I don't know exactly how they're getting on, if they're doing any better than we are, but I'd be surprised. I'd be very, very surprised. I was divided when I voted. It was not an easy decision for me to figure out where I wanted to go in terms of the options that we were being presented with. And the eventual decision I made was reluctant. I voted mostly on energy principles. Are they going to ban wood burners? Who? Is that a thing? Banning wood burners? Really? Why? I don't know why that would be their approach. That just seems a bit odd to me. I wonder if this video can do anything. Yeah, I think it's going to go a similar pattern to the old video. They're just going to lower the impressions around overnight and during the early day, and then towards the evening they're going to up the impressions, and you're going to see this continual graph. That's what I'm seeing on my viral video. This one here that's got a really high impression click-through rate. Look, they just show it to more people in the evening and then less in the day, more people in the evening, less in the day, more people in the evening, just like that continually. 242,000 impressions, that's huge. But the ratio of impressions to views is really good because there's a really good click-through rate. But yeah, this video is my golden video. This video alone is going to be funding all content going forwards. You think it should already be banned now in England? They're already banned in England? Really? Like, what? Why are they banning what? Why is it even on the table? I mean, I suppose they've already been banned in cities for a while, right? Because of fires and all that sort of stuff. But in the countryside, I mean, this is why people come to the countryside. They want to have a nice little home with a fire. So you are not self-sufficient, I think. What do you mean? Scotland? Scotland is tied with England. I'm not sure what you mean about self-sufficient. Wood burners aren't banned in England, but some political parties have discussed it. Smoke emissions, like we don't burn down in bushfire every summertime. Time for your rhinitis doesn't work. Sorry, it does not work. But I appreciate your suggestion, David. Yeah, I think there's a faction, like the faction who simplifies military regiments. They remove hereditary peers. They change Her Majesty's government to the UK government. They are intentionally removing things that make England England, and there's just less and less reason to be associated with them. It's just embarrassing. It's an embarrassing nation. They're going in an embarrassing direction. They're about to elect a fucking populist leader who is good at pleasing people, but he's not the change that England needs to fix their issues. So we're gonna just see a continuation of all these things. Applied kinesiology isn't spiritual. It uses manual muscle testing to identify imbalances in the body, which are thought to correspond to organ, emotional, or nutritional issues. Okay, interesting. The government apparently has confirmed there's going to be no ban, which would be ridiculous. I mean, it's just like, what is your ideal picture of life in this country? And sitting there in front of a wood-burning stove is a key part of that. It's like banning flags or banning nice buildings. I mean, I think we should ban their fucking skyscrapers before we ban wood-burning stoves. But if you live a cliquey life in snazzy, sharp, tight-clothed London, then maybe that's an acceptable approach. It just seems ridiculous to me. I find it hard to believe that was even on the table. I'm getting kind of passionate about this issue. Look at me, my NIMBYism, my populist NIMBYism. Get out of my backyard. I want my stove. But yeah. James Walker shares it's very cagey in the hall, as is often the case at election vote counts, but increasingly so as the day progresses. I think we're going to have a surprise, not a victory, there's going to be a majority SNP. This is my prediction. Majority SNP with Reform much closer behind than they're expecting. What are they polling for Reform? I think they're polling like 20 seats. I think we're going to see, like, I'm going to guess, here's my prediction, 27 seats or 28 seats for Reform. 27 seats for Reform. And then, like, I think SNP is not going to get 50. I think SNP is going to get mid to late 40s. Tories are going to be weaker. Probably going to be SNP, Reform, Labour, Tories, Greens. Imagine if Greens overtook the Tories. It's possible in Scotland because Tories are so disliked anyway, and the people who support the Tories are likely to be voting Reform. Tories and Greens are probably going to be in a similar stance. The French are lost. What do you mean the French are lost? I mean, it's just such a strange country. Oh, they want to ban gas stoves too. You're off-grid, solar independent. They're not getting your wood fire. It'd just be terrible. It'd just be such a silly idea. I find it hard to believe that was even on the table. Taking away wood fires. That just seems ridiculous to me. Because the policies against Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait will be even far richer. These countries are growing. Do you think people should just vote on issues instead of political parties? Do you think that might represent things more, and then they'd vote less on personalities? It's like, well, do you want more taxes or less taxes? Well, we want less taxes. Do you want more welfare or less welfare? Well, we want more welfare. I suppose that's the issue, is a party has to propose one or the other. And if some people stand for some issues and not other issues, then you're going to have everybody wanting more handouts and less taxes at the same time. I suppose that's the main issue with not having political parties. I mean, for example, in Scotland, it's clear there's a lot of people who want independence, but they don't want immigration. And there's no party that stands for that, really. The Alliance to Liberate Scotland had the opportunity to be that party. They had a clear opportunity to be that party. They could say they are against immigration. But they said that they were for it. They said their only policy was Scottish separatism, and yet they made it very clear that they are pro-immigration. Chat only had 20 minutes free. You will catch me later. No worries, mate, you do not need to apologise for only coming on here for a short amount of time. We appreciate you coming on and joining, and it's wonderful that you did. Lots of people don't even look at the live streams, they only look at the videos. I'm glad you're able to chat and join in. I'm thinking of a radical option here, okay? Hear me out. Hear me out. Reform are going to win the next general election. They might have to do a coalition if things are really bad, but they're not going to lose the next election. Reform I know you want Restore to win, but it's just a reality that Reform are going to win. Nigel Farage is going to be Prime Minister. I don't see an avenue where this is not the outcome yet. I think that it's going to be Nigel Farage, and then I think it's going to be Tories and Restore the next time, maybe. Potentially. If people are fed up with Nigel Farage, then they'll vote for... I think Tories are going to have a resurgence because they're possibly even going to be the shadow cabinet. But it's possible we're going to have a Reform Prime Minister with Green opposition. But Reform, like Tories, are strong on pro-business, right? Pro-small business, but also pro-big business in some senses. Obviously, they don't want to say that too much for the sake of votes, but it's clearly something they're going to benefit. So, your son and yourself love my bagpipes, and they really like where you choose to play them. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've had a number of mothers and sons come and show support for what I do. I wonder if there's a possible outcome where Reform realizes they can win the votes in Scotland if they become a pro-independence, anti-immigration party, or a unionist a unionist party that's actually a thinly disguised strongly pro devolution party. That's a possible outcome too. Then reform vote uh, reform sort of passes some sort of referendum that's a not a full referendum. It's kind of a more pro heavy devolution referendum. For example, pro Scotland seeks the most benefit from its own financial surplus, something along those lines. But there's some sort of a catch that benefits Farage and a number of reform politicians. It'd be like a reverse version of the Act of Union, right? Where the interests of the country were deprioritized for the sake of the gain of a small number of individuals involved in the decision. We could see something similar for Scottish independence or strong Scottish devolution on the basis of reform wanting to get into government as a strong nationalist, anti-immigration, pro-devolution party. I wonder if Farage would back that. We might see a kind of new. There's definitely an avenue for a new Tartan Tory nationalism, and the SNP was historically much more centrist, and now it's much more centrist left, and they have a number of socialist policies. I wonder if reform, because I don't know if they'll realize how much support they have from pro-independence people, but there's a lot of people who are pro SNP for independence and pro reform for immigration policy, right? For deportations. So it's very very possible. It's very possible. We will have to see. Um, yeah, but you know, ideal. My home is very nice. Yeah, it's my family's home. It's not my home. I'm living with my family at the moment. Well, I'm not really. Well, I mean, this is my only actual base. I'm not really here very often, but technically, this is my only residency right now. So, yeah, it's a very wonderful place, and I'm very privileged to be able to have the opportunity to come back here. Um, I'm very, very happy about it. Fuck updates. You don't fix anything, you make everything worse. Let's see. Let's see this. I want to hear more things because I'm very much a person who likes to not base my perspective because my perspective is, as you know, quite technocratic. But I do like to inform my perspective based on what people are requesting and what's in the kind of popular dialogue. So I ask a lot of people about their perspectives about politics. Do you like that Scotland has free uni education? No, actually, I'm against that as a policy. I think it's good to have free uni education for courses that benefit the economy directly. I think a lot more of it can be done through scholarships, and I think overall it's very clear that most people on courses right now are time wasters. They are not people who should be at university. I saw that from going to university. It's why I left university. I didn't leave university because it was too expensive. I didn't leave university because it was too hard. I left university because it was a waste of time because there were so many useless people on my course that were not beneficial for me to be around. You feel like reform could pivot that way, but Scotland is a lot more left wing than England, so you're not sure that they can swing a Scottish election. Just wish we had better options than the main parties. You can be very much left wing and very much anti immigration. There's a lot of people who are working poor people in Scotland who would vote for an anti immigration. They basically vote for SNP, but anti immigration. So yeah, there's a lot of avenue for a party that's going to do that.
afford to heat your house.
Among the breathtaking beauty of the Scottish Highlands, the cost of living significantly exceeds the national average.
We need energy,
Political
guys.
promises don't mean
We need
much
nuclear. We
this
need to use our
community.
oil.
All the prices, everything's going up, but the pension's not going up.
Farming's more than just a way of life here. The price of preserving that heritage is becoming hard to swallow.
We'll pay on average about £600-700 a month on electric.
And it's not just farmers feeling the heat.
Now it's getting to the point there where not everyone can afford it.
With a Scottish election looming,
Wow,
this community
that's
don't
more than
want
my
their
rent.
concerns to be
They're
brushed
spending
aside.
more than my rent. How did Scotland become so gay?
Farming's been a way of life for many Scottish families. But it's getting more expensive for this generation to
Well,
feed these hungry mouths.
we do have some
This
slightly
150
flamboyant,
acre farm in Dornoch
slightly
rears
snarky,
and sheep.
snobby
Don't get on, we'll
neighbours,
take you down to the bottom field.
and
It's not just
we
the
have
livestock
been in
though
a
that
culture of
have gone up.
dependence for a long time.
We'll pay on average about
We've become a
600-700
very welfare dependent country,
on electric.
and many of the
Everything's back to
greatest people
expensive
from
and
Scotland
everything's against
have
you as a
left
business to try
Scotland
and
and are in their diaspora.
increase that and make
The
that
most
better.
ambitious, the most
And
hardest
if you
working
do make
people,
more money,
lots of them headed off to
everything goes up
Greenock,
again.
got on the
So you
boats,
can't really win.
and left the United States of America and
The
Canada.
SNP have strong
So
support
I
in
would say
this
that's a
area.
big part of
With
why
the
it's
election
the reality.
days away, the political
Unis are breeding
promises to
ground
help
for
with
the
heavy
woke
lifting
in
aren't
Australia.
keeping
Your
things
son
wrong.
left.
So the FSC
Two,
have come out and said that they'll
he's a
cap
tree
prices
surgeon now and
on
loving life.
agricultural products, which
Yeah, good,
is
good.
going to go against farming and rural communities. So all the other parties have jumped in and said that they'll support farmers, but how much they'll actually support farmers is a different matter.
Yeah,
The
I'm
farm has
very.
diversified to make ends meet, including the addition of a motorhome campsite.
It's a lot quieter because the weather's great, and so we should be full. And we've maybe got 2 or 3 on when we should have 5 or 6 on. And we've had lots of them texting, "What's the fuel prices like up here? Have you got fuel?"
Those who are staying on site are minding their budgets.
The cost has it's changed how we do things. We normally hop back and forwards a lot according to which weather. The weather's on the east coast or the west coast. Whereas now we've stuck to a much more the shorter routes and things like that, and saved money.
Life in the Highlands is a blend of beauty and
Yeah,
isolation.
I mean, I think Scotland. I know too many people who have very cozy lives. They don't think their lives are cozy, but they have very cozy lives, and they do fuck all. So, yeah, I suppose you could argue I'm in that category, right? I don't take money from the government, but I do take money from donations. So you could definitely make a point that I'm in that category. I live a very nice life. I live, on the edge a little bit, but I live a very nice life. And controversially, I enjoy it a lot. I don't think I do work very hard, but working very hard doesn't justify necessarily you earning lots of money, because you need to work hard on something that's very useful. And if you're working hard on something that isn't very useful, then you're not going to earn lots of money. And basically, the broad thing is, well, if I'm not doing something useful, which I'm obviously not, because my business is not useful yet, right? I'm working for something that's in the future, but my business is not making significant profits, and that's going to be the reality probably for the next year or two. I reckon I'm probably going to be living on the edge, very very stingy, frugal lifestyle, traveling and doing social media content for the next year or so, and my income will come from playing bagpipes, doing events. That's the reality. That's the reality. And anyway, but people, I'm trying to over justify my situation. Lots of people do not work hard at all. They don't really know what hard work is, I think. And nonetheless, they're able to not just survive but thrive, and they don't even realize they're thriving. They don't realize how good their lives are. I'm enjoying my life a lot. I'm not trying to say, like, my life is not bad. I'm very, very lucky. I'm just saying, you could make some comparisons to people who are on benefits in my life because I do receive a portion of my money from the nations. Australia rapidly following the UK. Unfortunately, multiculturalism is a failure here. One culture, multinational, maybe. You don't want Scotland to be independent because you want to live there in the summer. You think the English will stop all their benefits to Scotland once Scotland leaves. By benefits, do you mean free trade? I think it depends. I think it's something that reform would do. If Scotland had an independence referendum that Farage opposed, it's very likely he would do something petty. Just look at what he's doing right now. His policy of saying we're going to put detention centres only in constituencies where they vote, or they're going to prioritise putting them in places which voted Green. How crazy is that? You know, it's insane. It's insane. So, yeah, he's probably going to do something similar to Scotland. He would have some petty policy to mess things up. And obviously, we have a lot of exports to England. That would be tough for us. You're saying you don't want Scotland to become independent because you want to maintain your summer home here. I think there's a lot of middle class English people with that perspective. I think it's sort of silly and strange the way our economic system works, our relationship with England. I think it needs a lot of reform. I think it needs to be changed in a lot of ways. It just doesn't suit the modern day. The British government does not represent Scotland. A reform government will not represent Scotland. I am very sceptical a Restore Britain government will represent Scotland in the appropriate way in which they need to be represented. So I'm open to hear different proposals and different outcomes of how we can have a government that does represent Scotland appropriately, and Scotland does benefit from producing a surplus. I think we're going to see a rise in nuclear power in Scotland, and we're probably going to produce, we don't have the potential to produce an energy surplus in this country and to have a significantly stronger economy than England per capita. Something comparable to the City of London system might be worth consideration. Your son didn't take his education in engineering any further than HNC and is working on the land and building self-employed business. Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, no, I mean, that's fantastic. I was self-employed up until 2 weeks ago, and I opened a limited company, and now I'm trading under the limited company. It's actually incurring more costs right now than being self-employed, but it's gonna be better for me in the long term overall. Anyway, so yeah, that's great, and a lot of people are leaving the university system. That's the reality. More and more people are going to continue to leave the university system, and they're going to be the most competent people, potentially people who would benefit the most from a competently put together system. But of course, they're not going to benefit so much from the shambolic system that we have currently, which is better at serving, how shall we say, you know, please the victim, let's say, concerns than actually fix the economy type concerns. I think university is great. I think university should be there. We've got a weird kind of merging of the colleges and the universities. Traditionally, colleges were for people who want to advance their careers, and universities were for people who want to become erudite, people who want to become scholars, right, to advance your position in the social hierarchy as an aristocrat. As somebody in those positions, it makes sense. But surely those positions should be funded through private scholarships, through specialist scenarios where maybe a poor person is exceptionally talented, rarely an outlier in intelligence, something along those lines, and those people should be supported into those positions. For an odd kind of blanket situation where every bartender has a degree, and when you go to the courses, most people are lazy and not really working. They've got it for free, so who really cares? It's basically just an extension of their secondary education. No, it's an enormous privilege, but they don't see it in that way. It's a big problem. It's a big issue, you know, and also the abolishment of grammar schools has made the school system the same thing, where people don't appreciate the school system. I didn't appreciate the school system because I had lazy teachers. I didn't appreciate the university system because I had lazy lecturers. And both of them, I was surrounded by lazy students. So it's just people who don't care about it. They genuinely do not care about their education, and that's unfortunately the reality when everything is too easy. People are not going to work for it anymore. People are finally waking up to that across this country. This is one of the first times where we're seeing finally people are wanting less. There are more people who want less welfare than there are people who want more welfare. For the first time in a very long time, I believe, in the history of Scotland and England. Building services engineering degree is good right now with building AI data centers, power building, electrical plumbing. Yeah, I mean, I think engineering, I'm not sure whether or not engineering has its strongest place in university system or if that should be taken on board by colleges. But obviously it's expensive to do any reformations that are particularly strong and controversial, so something like adding a college system and completely changing the universities would be potentially dangerous. However, I think people say, oh, there's going to be jobs lost if you have a system that's whatever too cruel. It doesn't allow everyone to come in, and it's like, yes, jobs need to be lost. All right, that is my belief from the course that I was on. Jobs need to be lost in the university system. There are university lecturers who do not deserve to be university lecturers, in my opinion. They should not be lecturing people who want to advance their career, and they probably shouldn't be lecturing people who want to be scholars or erudite either. So I think there's a strong argument to be made that jobs should be lost in those fields, and they deserve to be lost. What are you saying here? You went to a really bad school. You had a math teacher who was just playing math games rather than teaching the curriculum. You reported her as your senior teacher, and things changed for the better. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a shame to think that less privileged people might get a worse education, but I think the comprehensive school system, while flawed, is closer to what we need than the current system, which is just, well, we're going to give everyone the same shit education unless you can pay for private school. And even then, we're going to tax them to shit, I think it's just a shame that I know so many people who were rare exceptions. They were smart children, and they just got so pissed off with school. You usually blame students, not teachers. Well, I'm talking about a minority of students here who are very intelligent, who are very competent, and they have no avenue, they have no outlet in the school. They need to be in a private school, really, or a private school system, but they can't get into the private school system without their parents' support. So there's lots of young people who are very intelligent, very competent, have potentially the most to contribute out of anybody in the nation, and yet they're in public schools that do not benefit them. These are the people who could be doing important startups. These are the people who could be the most valuable engineers, and many of them are simply struggling. The boy in my class who was finished maths before anyone else is now a bin man, right? He was very, very fast at maths. He was obviously ADHD or something along those lines, very hyperactive. He would have thrived probably in a private school environment, potentially. He was very smart and very competent. But he was not able to thrive in a public school environment where the standard is the status quo. The standard is conforming. You're saying the students have no respect for teachers whatsoever. A parent can't even discipline his child without the child complaining to social services because he got hit by his parents. Yeah, I suppose there's an issue in government institutions overall of just weakness and victim narratives that exist in the education system, that exist in social services. It also exists in the home, and a lot of the reason that children are more rebellious at school is because of the way they behave at home. I don't really know what the right answer is. I don't know the correct approach to parenting, but I know that lots of people feel that the correct answer is something closer to what used to exist in the past. I'm very proud. I had quite soft parenting, and I misbehaved a lot at school. I think now I'm very, very thankful for my parents. They gave me an enormous privilege in growing up, so I'm glad for it. A bin management is still a good job. It will keep you healthy and strong, and the pay isn't bad where you are. You're right. You're right. It's just, I think this man is somebody who could have been running a company. He had an aversion to the norm, and maybe he will. Maybe he'll use his money that he earns from being a bin man to do something along those lines. He could have been doing something very valuable for this country. He could have been a significant surplus contributor, and instead, he's treated like shit by the system. Sorry, I need to disconnect my microphone, unfortunately, right now. It's, I need to charge my phone, and I cannot charge my phone at the same time as using the microphone. So that's just not an option. Oh, fuck. Yo, why is there a bowl there? The hell? Yes, my brother's left a bowl there. Is he upset that he's a bin man? No, he's not upset that he's a bin man. But, I mean, I don't think it's about how upset you are. I don't think that should be the focus of the priority of any of these people. I don't think the government should be prioritising how upset are people. I think they should be prioritising, how strong is our country? How good are we at dealing with these important questions and issues that we need to be dealing with? Right, let's see.
This group of women meet weekly to tackle that loneliness, have a cuppa, and discuss local issues. Some are devolved, but others, like fuel duty and energy bills, will not change when they vote on Thursday.
Cheaper oil, cheaper electric, better roads. And I mean, even though there's an election coming up soon, I think it's quite hard to think about who will get in and whether they will actually do what they say.
All the prices of everything's going up, but the pension's not going up.
We're going to get a horse and cart. Yeah.
Cheaper than running.
I think it'd be much cheaper, and it'd also be much nicer.
This area relies heavily.
Wait, they're actually, hang on, no way.
And more than 6
Yeah.
They're seriously going to get a horse and cart. That is so cool. Sorry, that's crazy that we have that as a system, but I mean, it's sad that she's in that situation. No, that's wow, that's so interesting. Horse and cart. Tourists are gonna love that shit, by the way. If people start using horse and carts more often because gas prices are so ridiculous.
I think it'd be much cheaper, and it'd also be much nicer.
This area relies heavily.
Would be
on
nice, I
oil to
suppose.
heat their homes, and more than 60% of households are classed as living in poverty.
Are we all going to be in a situation where you can't afford to heat your house? You can't afford to eat proper food. I can't see that it's going to get any better. I don't know where it's all going to end.
Just opening the hatch, just made your head.
Grant drives his fish and chip van all over the Highlands. Lately, it's a struggle to keep the wheels turning. How much is it costing you to keep this on the road?
So the cost of taking the van out is more or less doubled in the last couple of months, between the gas and the fuel cost.
Cheap as chips is a thing of the past. Within the first 2 weeks of opening their new shop, the price of fish doubled.
Fish and chips should be that affordable commodity where you can go on a fishy Friday, you go to your fish and chip shop and you're local and you get, a nice supper that you can afford. Now it's getting to the point now where not everyone can afford it, and it's a real shame for the industry. I mean, you can't turn around and say to a customer, you're now paying £18 for fish and chips, because they're just not going to buy it. They can't afford it.
Cost that it would be?
I mean, to be honest, that's probably where we need to be.
All parties have
Fuck.
pledged to tackle the cost
£18 for a fish and chips.
want to cap the cost of
£18.
food items. Scottish Labour, the Conservatives and Reforms
Wow.
cut taxes.
There's a place in Edinburgh you can get it for £8, I think, or £6, something like that. It's pretty cheap. And
energy bills.
where was that? I think it was in the south side somewhere. But
Households in rural
obviously not in the centre.
This community wants the next Scottish
They've shown that same clip of that girl pouring chicken feed.
Vanessa
3
Turner,
times.
ITV News, Donna.
I suppose that was the summary at the end, and then they showed it at the start as well, but it seems a bit strange to show so much. Right, let's move my laptop closer to me so I can sit back. Jamie Dimon, Stanford Graduate School of Business. Graduate School. Yeah, I want to try and get more takes on the kind of ground, because obviously I have a habit of being. Oh, actually, let's see the comments. Hang on.
Are we all?
I have a habit of being not very empathetic to people who are struggling, and it's probably a bad habit. Regression in living standards, fish and chips is now a rich man's meal. Yeah, and people are going to start riding horse and cars. Crazy. Yeah, we're living in 2036. Victorian World War poverty. You lost your job yesterday and you're now UC. You're dreading this month. No idea how you're going to survive on £400 a month. This government are to blame for shitting working class and the poorest. It's over 20% stated in this video, living in poverty. Yeah. He spoke to English people and some old people. It's true. But old people are going to be an increasing demographic. We're going to have an aging demographic. Young people need to have more children in this country. Soon. Really. The last Christians of Denmark. Green is for danger. Oh yes, come on. This song just gets me every time. He had to be reminded on air that he is no longer in UK. What? Peter Reeve was formerly the United Kingdom Independence Party group leader on Huntingdonshire District Council, has gone viral after accidentally referring to his former party. I don't really care. Do we really care? He accidentally called himself UKIP instead of Reform. Glasgow Emirates. I don't really like her expression, to be honest. I don't think it was a very good performance. Maybe it was just because of all the backing music, it was a bit distracting or something. Chatted this morning as whether the Scottish Greens will take Glasgow South Side, Maryhill and Kelvin, or both, whether Anna Sarwar will win Glasgow Cathcart, and Pollock against SNP's Zengani. Labour are apparently confident, but they would be how much Reform UK eats into the Tory vote. I think people are looking at reform to eat into the Tory vote in Scotland. It's interesting because in England it's eating into the Labour vote, and I think people are underestimating how much people who are pro SNP and pro Labour are still going to vote for reform because they don't like immigrants. Sam Hugan, this fucking dude. Scotland's representation for the Commonwealth Games instead of Rory Gray. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm not against Sam Hugan by any means. Right, how are we doing here? On the chanter, you want a tune? It's not sounding very nice though. It's quite out of tune. It's like a kazoo right now. I don't think it's not worth playing at the moment. Political reporter Steph Braun here checking in from the election count in Aberdeen. 6 constituency seats are being counted here today. Aberdeen Central, Aberdeen Donside, Aberdeen Deeside and North Kincardine. Aberdeen West, Aberdeenshire East and Banffshire, Canning Coast. Me a rambling rover from Orkney down to Dover. Trouble in losing religion and not having strict religious laws like Muslims. What are you saying? Hang on, let me read this. It won't happen if you replace marriage and family with feminism and casually sleep around. Hookup culture, you will have no civilization left. Yeah, it's a big issue here. But I know a lot of young people who are very much keen on having children at a young age and actually are. They're not just saying it, they're actually having children at a young age. And it's very promising. I know a lot of young people my age who are doing that. So, yeah, I'm very optimistic about that. Long way to the top. Oh, fuck's sakes, man. It's like... I have quarrel with the all the way to the top. I think it goes something like... Da... Na 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 na... Na 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 na... Na 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 na... Something like that, isn't it? I mean, it's just nonsense. More old people and less young people is bad for economy. Means more money spent on elderly and less taxes coming from young people. Yes, exactly. More beautiful ginger babies, please. Yes. Yeah, Yeah, we need to have more gingers in this world. I am going to do something about that. I'm going to try and produce as many gingers as I possibly can. But no, I definitely need to make that happen. I've not done it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to tolerate somebody for 70 years of my life. Is this hold fast? I don't know what hold fast is. Right, let's see. Come on. Come on, you national folk. According to reporters on the ground, they've been told they are not allowed to count. Allowed on the count floor? Oh, reporters are not allowed on the count floor, right? Usually, and as for our reporters, 5 Scotland reporters are allowed to walk around and observe the counting while talking to activists and candidates. They must ask a council press officer. I mean, it's just silly. We're writing about just silly, pathetic stuff now. Come on, I don't want to see this. I think what's happening is there's a lot of tensions right now. There's going to be people shouting stuff, talking shit, spreading controversies. Son of a ginger here, your mother is an ore. Nice stuff. I know a number of ores actually in my area here. It's quite a common name. An ore. Saving the ginger race. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out that tune, the Foggy Dew. What the f- what's it not? Is it in G? That's definitely wrong. That's not the right note. No, that's definitely gonna work. Nah. I don't know how this is going to translate. Do gingers have a soul? Apparently no, not. Well, we'll see. Oh, this is stopping on this thing. Hang on. Who the fuck is James Walker, man? These journalists talking about themselves like they're... Alright, anyway. I need to stop being so rude. It's a bad habit with these live streams. The longer I do them, the more I get rude. What's Bon Scott? I don't know what Bon Scott is. Oh, it's like a pop musician. SNP voter, when asked for his prediction, said, "You never know," citing the party's poor result in the 2024 general election. Reacting to the dismal results for Labour in the English local elections, their Edinburgh South candidate Daniel Johnson told me there are many moving parts in Scotland. STV journalists walk out. What? STV are striking on the day of the election. Man, I'm so glad I'm not an employee in a company right now. It's just so silly. It's just like, I'd hate to be that person that's like begging people to be nicer to them. I would despise that. That's how you get more money, is you beg people to be nicer to you. Fucking hell. Do you know how I get more money? Is when I work harder. It's pretty straightforward. Nice today, 16 degrees Celsius and sunny. Yeah, well. Yeah, if I don't work harder, I don't get more money. That's why I don't have any money. But yeah, no, I mean, that's just the reality. Look at that line. Is my hair that wet? Still, I think it would have dried by now. Must be beautiful in Norway in the summer. What are you saying? Southwest Norway. Play the Mario tune. I don't know if I can play the Mario tune. I don't fucking know. I don't know the Mario song. England, London, 15 degrees Celsius, kind of grey. Let's see. Let's get the Mario. Let's see. Let's see if somebody's translated it. Now they're all talking about warp pipes and stuff like that. There's no bagpipe. Nobody's written fucking bagpipe music. None of these. Oh, that's bagpipe music. God Save the Queen. Sorry, that ending was fucking ass. Ah, fuck the king. IRA. Fuck the king and the IRA. That's gonna be my new chant. There's no fucking... No, it seems like nobody's made it into bagpipe music, and I don't have the patience right now to on stream try and figure out music. I take long enough to figure it out. I'm not going to try and do it on stream because it's going to bore you. This is the latest result. Some people in Perth complaining about not getting to do their journalism. Nice, mate. Scotland 2. We was in the Vikings. Now you're getting somewhere. To be honest, the only reason I know God Save the King is just to wind up all my friends. They're all nationalists. They're all as nationalist as I am, but you know, more serious maybe. Have a great day all, and thank you for the jig. What, banjo breakdown? You like banjo breakdown? Yeah, nice. Well, no brother. You're welcome. You're welcome for supplying a little cheeky little jig. Fuck. What does it mean to be an Anglophile and Separophile at the same time? That's the banjo. Oh, that's the fucking... That's the Boghall and Bathgate melody. Every time I play Lexi McCaskill as like a round reel, I go into that melody.
Ireland's Great Wine Major, Ross Blaine medley number 2.
What does carpe diem mean? It means seize the day, I think, something along those lines. Fuck, did they have an early chanter? No way. Bruh. I didn't know Boghall had an early chanter in 2024. Isn't that the year they won? I thought they won in 2024. Oh no, Inverary won. Inverary won in 2024. They won in 2023. Listen to that heavenly sound. I think I was thinking of their day 2 medley, not their day 1 medley. But anyway, great performance. I really noticing the drums were really good. I don't normally notice the drums very much. Alright, going back to work. See you later, sir. Should I bring out the bagpipes now? Is it? I usually try and wait until after 12 because people could still be sleeping at this time. I like to wait until everybody's at work, you know. I'll listen pipes. It's not going to be as good as those bagpipes, unfortunately. But, let's see, what are you writing in here? What are you writing? Nobody wrote anything about the bog hall. Like, interesting. Let's see. In Wales, Labour is heading for a crushing defeat in Wales after suffering disastrous local election results in England overnight. The party has been the largest at country-wide elections in Wales for more than a century and had won the most seats in the Welsh Parliament since its creation more than 2 decades ago. But after Wales went to the polls on Thursday night, Labour is bracing itself for a brutal set of results in its former heartlands, with senior figure admitting the party faced a tough election campaign under difficult circumstances. Plaid Cymru are doing well. Reform are doing well. I wonder we can get a map. Maybe there's not enough votes. I don't think any constituencies are completed yet, are they?
With the fact that their lives are
Visit Malta. Can you fuck off? What is this?
Within an island smaller than the Isle of Wight. In this episode of Travel Smart, we're exploring the beauty of Malta.
This is fucking nothing to do with...
Favorite destination?
Fuck off! Fuck off! Why is there no cross button? Oh my lord. Right. Well, okay, so there's no seats settled yet. Look, it's still there! Is there no way to get rid of these videos? You can't cross it off. It's insane. Also, what's the election about? You're Swedish. Just for the Holyrood, so there's a devolved parliament in Scotland, and we are seeing who people vote for. So the main options are SNP, Reform, Labour. They're the most successful parties right now. These are the seats in the parliament, and they're trying to get a majority of the seats. I need to work on my Shaspe. And my march. God forbid the real. Like to secure an unprecedented footing in national politics. The authoritative pollster also found winning 19 MSPs in central projection. "17 seats for Labour and 7 seats for Conservatives." Yeah, I think the Greens might actually beat the Conservatives in this election. That could be an insane revelation. If the Greens beat the Conservatives. What a humiliation. But nobody wants to vote for them right now. Who's winning? I mean, I think the SNP are winning, the Nationalist Party.
Respect for Donald Trump.
At a rally?
Yes.
Yeah, why do you want to come out?
Why do I want to come out?
Why do you want to come out?
Why do I want to come out? Because I'm very grateful. Many of us in Great Britain are very grateful for Donald Trump's leadership in the world. He's not a coward. He hasn't bent. He hasn't surrendered to Iran and their Islamic supremacy. He hasn't given £1.7 billion. They funded 10 terror.
Yeah. The world's hardest musical instrument. The ukulele pipes. Is that true? I suppose it's hard to define these things.
This is Pocket.
Oh shit. Yeah, there's no election results coming in yet, still. So we got a minute to wait. Listen to those, see the metallic sound there? It's because they've got segs on their shoes. My segs have completely worn through. It's mental on those cobbles. Fuck, man, look how well kept their outfits are. How clean they are, how well ironed they are. Mine is a shambles compared to this. I've heard some bad stories though about military gear just being really poor quality. "21 gun rolls." What? It's the sort of stuff Keir Starmer wants to do away with, you know? Anything that unifies the identity of people in a nation doesn't directly contribute to GDP. I can hear his voice right now. He's looking at this. Going, "Where is the GDP contribution of this event?" Guys, look, it's terrible for the GDP. Oh, don't you hate this? Don't you hate how bad this is for the GDP? What a shame. Oh well, suppose we'll have to get rid of them. They're not really doing much for the GDP at all, are they? I mean, the current president is enamored by this kind of stuff. The current United States president is enamored by this kind of stuff. He loves it. Coming to England and seeing all these kinds of things. And in Scotland too. But in the future, the president's, you know, Newsom's probably not going to care too much about grandeur in this sense. It's one of the few things it's hard to beat us on at the moment, but be replaced. Won't take long. You can hear bagpipes in the distance. Their drums are so loud in the military. I always hear English bands playing this song. What is this tune? So pompous. Ratata, ratata. Bro, what the fuck is going on here, man? I've had a couple people in the army tell me it's like a youth club at the moment. There's a lot of controversy about the way people are being managed and the competency of soldiers coming in. Bro, what is going on? What is this guy doing here? Hang on, are these what modern cannons look like? These cannons on the right? I suppose these are modern cannons, are they? I've never seen those before. I only see the old ones, really. I wonder why they would paint them with such a reflective paint. Surely they'd want them to be less reflective so they don't stand out so much. Do you get to the Royal Mile much? Yeah. Yeah, I really like going up that way just for the buildings and everything, and it is my old kind of community. But yeah, it's not necessarily somewhere I go there as much as I used to, I suppose, because of modern circumstances. Isn't his the place where they fire 1 o'clock gun at the Edinburgh Castle? Yes, it is, yes. But I haven't seen those cannons there, though. The green ones with the rubber tires. What the hell's going on? Why is it on 1%? I don't know what's been happening with this, everyone. Big jazz finish, yeah. Right. Let's see with these elections results. Tories won't be second biggest party, Douglas Ross says. So Douglas Ross is the former leader of the Conservatives. And he said his party won't be the official opposition after the counts come in. Must be tough up there. It looks very windy as well. Look how much their hair is moving. They're very cold on the fingers and tough to play in that condition. This technical issue is just too embarrassing right now. They don't think it's going to be a majority. Yeah, I think majority will be 50. I think it's going to be just below a majority is my prediction. I'm guessing mid-40s. I think people are still going to want the SNP a lot because they're really annoyed with the English government right now in Westminster. And that's enough to make people vote for the SNP. That's all the SNP really needs. Right, I'm going to go and take a quick break. And I'll come back shortly. Let me just pause. I'll come back. Oh! There's the fire! Alright, let me get back in. Hold on. 1 second. What's this? Somebody's posting a bunch of emojis here. No more grooming gangs. I think that's a statement we can all get behind. I think that's a very reasonable statement to be making. No more grooming gangs sounds like a good idea to a lot of us, I would say. I don't think you're going to get much opposition on that. As for the execution of that belief, well, you know, we'll see. Right. Yeah, if I was a foreign nation right now, I wouldn't look at Britain and think we're a force to reckon with, unfortunately. And I really mean that with the utmost respect for everybody who's serving right now. I think it's a real shame, the stories that I'm hearing from within the military about the poor running and budgeting of things, the allocation of funds and power. It's a real shame. The mistreatment of veterans as well is apparently abysmal in this country. Loving your backwards rule from London Town. Thank you very much from London Town. I appreciate your support. I've got the bagpipes here now, as you can see, sitting just there. And I'm going to give them a play. We're past 12, we've got 5 minutes. I'll play them in 5 minutes, or we'll try and play them, we'll see. So no pipe band here. I want to see the pipe band. Oh, this is just, I'm sorry. I really want to be on the side of these people. I want to back them. I want to say I believe in them. I want to say I have faith in them. It's just a real shame. It's quite upsetting to look at this. For somebody who cares about their country and to see I would not dare make this a video talking about you know, bad things about the military. It's just a real shame what I'm looking at. Green Party's Zoe Garbett has been elected Mayor of Hackney, ousting Labour. SNP Culture Secretary Angus Robertson could be about to lose his seat in the Scottish Parliament, if Green sources are correct. A reporter, Xander Elliard, has been told that the party, having seen sample ballots, believe it has done enough to win Edinburgh Central, where former Scottish Green co-leader Lorna Slater is running against Robertson. The Scottish Greens are also optimistic about their chances in Edinburgh, North Eastern and Leith, Glasgow Kelvin and Maryhill. Glasgow South Side, with a source saying the races will be close. I don't know. Still no seat settled yet. The Culture Secretary. I don't even know about this guy, Angus Robertson. Let's look him up. Because I should know about the Culture Secretary. If anybody... This is terrible. How have they allowed that to be his picture? I get very conspiratorial when I look up anything to do with Scotland on the internet, to be honest. How is that allowed? I mean, can you imagine if that was the picture of Keir Starmer? There's a picture of him with his tongue out. Just makes him seem grotesque, and it's really not a fair way to represent a politician. Alright, let's read out his story then. Speaking as a German, you guys are definitely the last bigger nation in Europe that at least has a serious army. Really, is that true? But nah, it's gonna be. I mean, it's because we've had a conservative government for years, but there were still a weak conservative government, and honestly, it's not gonna take much from the Greens, to influence things in a very negative way. But I'm glad that you're saying that, because what I saw there was just. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that was our army there. I don't want to rail against them. It was really got to me. I was looking at that like, oh yeah, look at this, it's gonna be a great display of power. We're gonna go and play. Gonna see some bagpipes and a brass band, and I don't know what's going on with them. Born in 1969, he joined the SNP in 1984 after a distinguished career in international journalism. Angus worked in the Scottish Parliament as an expert advisor before being elected to the House of Commons in June 2001, where he served for 16 years. He was a member of the European Scrutiny Committee in 2001-2010 and served as the SNP spokesman on defence and international relations. In May 2007, he became SNP leader in the House of Commons. He was elected to Scottish Parliament on May 2021 to represent Edinburgh Central and has served as Cabinet Secretary for Constitution, External Affairs and Culture since May 2021. Angus lives with his wife Jennifer, daughters Sarsha and Flora, and 3 Labradoodles, Freya, Marnie and Sorley. Thank you for mentioning the Labradoodles here. Yeah, I would be shocked if an Edinburgh Central seat goes to the Greens, but it's the sort of things we are seeing more of now. Shetland Times reported the turnout being confirmed at 64.2%, a higher rate than the expected national average. 64.2% in the Shetlands. To be fair, and I've never in my life been to the Shetlands, but I've seen a lot of stuff from there, a lot of interviews from the Shetlands, and people are really passionate. I think they're going to vote for reform up there. But I just don't know. They think the SNP doesn't represent them, doesn't understand them. They feel they're voting for the Lib Dems. I mean, I don't know. Why is it so hard for parties to make the Shetlands feel that they're listened to? Let's see what the polling is for the Shetlands. It's an area of Scotland I'm very interested in. I think it has an enormous economic potential to be very successful in the future. And I just don't understand why it's always so neglected. Is it because it's a small population? I mean, it's fantastic turnout. But what are the polling predictions for the Shetlands? Oh yeah, they're voting for Lib Dems and then SNP, then Greens and Reform. Oh, Reform are really not that popular there. They're third, still after the SNP, and Lib Dems massively in the lead. Reform 1% and SNP 2%. Yeah. Are they doing a good thing there? I mean, are they really that optimistic that the Lib Dems are a strong force for what they desire in the Shetlands? I find that hard to believe that that'd be the case, to be honest. I find that hard to believe. Well, let's see what people are saying on Twitter, actually. Because, tough times for Labour.
They are very tough. And there is no sugarcoating this. We have lost brilliant Labour representatives across the country. These are people who put so much into their communities, so much into our party and our movement. And that hurts. And it should hurt. And I take responsibility. When voters send a message like this, we must reflect and we must respond. I think the vast majority of people do understand that we face huge challenges as a country. We've had a series of economic shocks in recent years, and there's a very difficult international situation that we face. They know that. But they still want their lives to improve. They still want to see the change that we promised. They know the status quo is letting them down and they're frustrated. They don't feel the change. I understand that. I get that. I was elected to deal with these challenges. We made some big calls to stabilise our public finances, to invest in our public services, not to get dragged into a war in Iran. But we also made unnecessary mistakes. One of which was that although we were right to level with the public about the scale and depth of the challenges we face, we didn't do enough to convince them that things will get better, that things will improve. The hope. And that is why in coming days I'm going to set out the steps that we will take to deliver.
Well, I think this reform thing might have a really good impact on the country, because it might get Keir Starmer to get his ass in gear. Who are you hoping to win? Who's to say? I mean, no, we're not even going to go there. Let's take this as it is, as it comes along. The Shetlands are insulted from the issues in major UK towns and cities that people see reform being a solution for. Yeah, but I think I met people from the Shetlands who were voting reform just because they were fed up with the current situation. I'm surprised there's such an overwhelming amount of likelihood of the Liberal Democrats winning. I know that they've won in the past and that they're popular there, and I just don't quite understand what it is they're doing right. They must be doing something right there. They must be... Something I have heard about Liberal Democrats is they're strong on things like roads, transport infrastructure, local systems, so...
That they want and that they deserve.
Yeah.
So that every child can go as far as their talent or ability will take them, held back by poverty. So that every community can have what it needs, a secure, safe place for everybody to live. Households and families not feeling constantly held back by a cost of living crisis. And a Britain where everybody can feel proud of the place where they live and they work. So these are tough results. But tough days like this, they don't weaken my resolve to deliver the change that I promised at the general election. They strengthen my resolve to do so. Thank you so much for listening.
That's a pretty important speech, I would say. It's pretty key. Trending politics is the Talmud. Okay. But yeah, I think it's a pretty important speech. I think it's really important that we look at what Starmer's saying here. It doesn't really sound like he's going to get his ass in gear, to be honest. I think he's going to continue standing up and reading things for hours. I think he's going to continue having the sort of weak fist on everything. The weak, compromising fist. I wanted an MMO where alliances matter with heavy logistics and real warfare, so you're building it. Real players. Oh, this is a fucking game. It's an advert for a game. Sakes.
যারা এই নিয়মে বসবাস করেন সবাইকে আসসালামু আলাইকুম আমি সবাইকে অনুরোধ জানাচ্ছি আমার বাংলাদেশি কমিউনিটি যারা এই নিয়মে বসবাস করেন সবাইকে No, I didn't catch a word of that. সবাইকে অনুরোধ জানাচ্ছি আমার বাংলাদেশি কমিউনিটি যারা এই নিয়মে বসবাস করেন সবাইকে No, I didn't catch a word of that.
For fuck's sakes. I did. I got a Assalamu alaikum. No, I didn't catch a word of that. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Hey, look at this.
We'll go dancing down the street, kissing everyone we meet when that man is dead and gone. What a day to wake up on. What a way to greet the dawn. Some fine day the news will flash, Satan with a small mustache is asleep beneath the lawn. When that man is dead and gone.
Yeah, imagine how united we were with the common enemy back then.
Satan, Satan, thought of a plan, dressed as a man, walking the earth, and since he began, the world is hell for you and me. But what a heaven it will be when that man is dead and gone. When they
How does this make you feel looking at this? The nostalgia, that's much better. It's interesting music, actually. Hang on. What are those flags? What? Can you see those flags? It looks like the Egypt flag. Oh, fuck's sakes, why is it not pausing? What flag is that? Does anybody know what flag that is? We would all have been better off speaking German again at this point, in your opinion. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way, which is a real shame. It's a real shame. The Netherlands. Is this in the Netherlands? It's got English text up there. Keep on saving. Nah, that's not. There's an emblem in the middle. That's so interesting. I've only known the one on the right here. Oh, was it this? I think it might be in this flag actually. That's possible. Really interesting. I wouldn't have expected that.
What a day to wake up. What a way to greet.
Guinness is good for you. Man, look at these things. Guinness is good for you. With a big clock. Well, that's so interesting. I think you all know Guinness, right? Guinness is very popular nowadays. The closer our resident Quaker Watchers bring us to World War III, the more you question the World War II narrative. Quaker Watchers, what does that mean? I've never heard that before. When a certain man is dead and gone. We were so happy and so optimistic.
Not work and generates zero value. So you go there, you order the cheapest fucking item on the menu, and you stay for hours, discussing what should happen in the world, discussing politics as if like your opinion matters. What's your strategy to escape the permanent unemployment? So this is called a terrace in France. It's where you go to not work and generates zero value. So you go there, you order the cheapest fucking item on the menu, and you stay for hours, discussing what should happen in the world, discussing politics as if like your opinion matters.
So the permanent underclass is like this narrative. I've mostly heard of it in people from Silicon Valley. They use this terminology a lot. They're talking about the idea that with AI and technology advancements, there's going to be a number of people who get to a certain level by pushing that forwards and being wealthy, and people who don't quite manage to get to that certain level will be stuck forever in this permanent underclass.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing here?
So I'm here today campaigning for the Scottish Conservative Unionist Party to stop an SNP majority.
Okay, and how are you telling voters that they can stop an SNP majority?
By voting for the Scottish Conservative Unionist Party on that piece of paper ballot.
Okay, well thank you very much. Good luck everyone. Enjoy the rest of your campaign.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Most sincere and charismatic interview I've seen in my life.
Yes. So we know the score. Okay. Yeah, all right. You lot seem quite knowledgeable. We are also bell ends, but we are a bit better than the other ones. We think. Okay. Also quite reassuring. We are new bell ends, so you haven't quite had the chance to realise how much bell ends we are yet, but you will. Oh no, I don't trust that. What about you lot? We just love stuff. Whatever it is, we love it. Right. We'll give you whatever you want. Probably. I'm listening. What do you want? More money? Done. Really? How are you going to do that? Look, I'm not going to get into the hows, but just trust us. It's a done deal. Okay, yeah, fuck it. I'll go with you lot. Brilliant. Now put his taxes up. Oh, what? You were bell ends as well? Yeah, we all are. Too late now though. No backsies.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people feel about the election. They feel very sincerely that there's just so little faith in any particular parties right now. And a lot of people, definitely you can see this kind of war and incumbency. They're optimistic that maybe somebody who's completely different would be able to sort things out. But it's just not going to happen. We're saying, your grandfather fought the Germans in Africa in World War II. He was one of the lucky ones who made it home. In Africa, really? In North Africa, I'm guessing? I don't really know much about the war fought in Africa. Lost your great-grandparents in World War I and got blown by German artillery. But look, seriously, thank you very much for the service of your grandparents and your great-grandparents. You just want me to know that you're proud of me. Wow, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much. I think I've done that much to be proud of, but I appreciate it.
I'm 21 years old. I'm a student. I've just been arrested on my lunch break really in connection with the string of arrests to take back power. It's a non-violent organisation that is engaged in resistance against a state that is systemically unjust. Being arrested here on my lunch break for a crime which I have not committed on suspicion of this crime. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I'm surrounded by multiple officers right now. And frankly, this is absurd. And we should all be aware of the absurdity and the fragility of the state which we live in. Apparently, I've been picked up on the live facial recognition being put increasingly in areas which we already know is a form of oppression. Is a repressive tactic. They seize my belongings, put them in a bag.
It's kind of weird to have facial recognition cameras when most people that are a problem just wear face coverings. But I mean, this is true all over Scotland as well. When you go to council house schemes, so places where poorer people live, the teenagers and the young men, an enormous amount of them wear these balaclavas where all you can see is a tiny, tiny bit of their eyes. I was in Sight Hill in Edinburgh, and this guy wearing one of those balaclavas where you can only see his eyes cycled up to me. I was crossing the road and he came right up to me. I thought he was going to try and hit me with his bike, and he just stopped right bang on in front of me and just stared at me. And I really could look into his eyes. I was trying to sort of figure out like what he was thinking, what he was going to do, because I was a bit obviously pretty uncomfortable with the fact he'd cycled up to me and braked right in front of me. He obviously intentionally swerved towards me while I was crossing the road. And his eyes were really, really pink and sort of wet. And I think he was scared or uncomfortable. I just said, look, I'm just crossing the road. And then he sort of went away. But he was with another friend on an electric bike who was in balaclavas. And I thought later on too, actually, kids on electric bikes, when I was in a new built area near the Turnhouse Golf Club. So down in, sort of north-west Edinburgh, I suppose. Or just West Edinburgh, but really far West Edinburgh. You know what that is, the Turnhouse Golf Club? And then, yeah, these guys just were going about with their balaclavas and waterproof electric bikes. I'm not sure why that's a combination, but that's a thing.
We will not be intimidated by the government. We will not be intimidated by all children in this country. Just make hundreds semblance of equality. Millions of people in this country are living in poverty while billionaires rake in profit, and our government is enabling a genocide in Palestine and letting people die on their own streets. We need to sign up. We need to resist. Sign up and take back power.net. Take action.
يعوض قوم يعوض قوم ولا قوم ولا العمادة تحت قوم.
It's horrible, man. I hate watching stuff like this. I mean, yeah, it's just horrible. The Duke of Kent is 90 years old. He joined King Charles for a milestone service at St. Paul's Cathedral. Wow. That is impressive that he's made it there as a 90-year-old man.
Struggle. Yeah, the struggle. Sort of like the dialogue at the back of Book Banner. Absolutely. Yes. See, this role was sort of a bit cheeky. I got a little bit out of my comfort zone, you know. During the filming of this role and this character, I felt oppressed, like an American slave, like a lot of struggle. I studied the art.
Fantastic turnout on the red carpet tonight. I'm just arriving. We have Samson Dubois at the American Guild Awards.
Samson, you look great tonight. How hard was it for you to change your accent?
As a little boy from Manchester, I think, I struggle a bit with the dialect, right? But to really get the character for this quite astonishing role, that
This is
to say the least.
This is an insane level of fucking... This is a parody, right? The American... What the fuck's the American thing? How have they got this budget?
If you fuck with my shit, I'll kill you, nigga. You'll be fucked up. Fuck. Family. Nigga, ain't no fucking family in this shit. We're not family, nigga. Fuck family. Hey, cut. That's the word. I'm stunning.
Wait, this is a huge set for... What a joke.
I had a call with the director. put this fucking bullet in your head, nigga. I laugh because I'm pendulous and a bit quite surreal.
What is this? I mean, how have they? Alright, anyway. Is that an issue? Is that a thing in America that they're annoyed that English people are taking all their roles? I mean, come on. Gee, are you really concerned about that stuff? Such a tiny people get into acting anyway. I mean, I don't think that's a real issue in America, is it? All sides are capable of humanity. Unfortunately, we are still primitive creatures, in your opinion. Yeah, probably that's accurate.
This is the quote of scientifically here.
What to get someone who has everything? I thought a crystal football. Pope, okay.
But it has the seal of the State Department, so it what to get someone who has everything? I thought a crystal. Other being, of course.
I kind of like Pope Leo, you know. A lot of people saying he's woke. Don't like his views on Trump and things, but no, I think he's doing a reasonably good job. What the fuck? Sam Altman. I honestly hate gay dating standards so much. I don't have a six-pack or a jawline. I don't go clubbing all the time. I don't listen to newer artists much. I don't have a skincare time. I don't travel because I'm broke. I eat junk food. I'm a nerd. Mental. Sam Altman. What a character. So much discussion about just American stuff on here. No way.
Somebody said there should be more sex on television.
Yeah, I agree.
You'll probably watch it then. You wouldn't like it.
No way. Hector. Hector. He's not from Yorkshire. 1983. Bullshit. This is just some random guy who looks like Hector. I don't know why I fell for that for a minute. It's just it's not Hector. 1983. Imagine if that was him in 1983. Who did play Hector? Fucking Hector. Hector. He does look like a lot like that guy, to be fair. I don't know, he could pass as Picasso in that picture. I think he could yeah, he could do Picasso. $1939. Oh, he's passed away. Wait, when did he pass away? He says was an American actor. In 2023, he died at 83. Tio Salamanca. He was in Scarface? No way. Sorry guys, I'm on a tangent here now. That was him in Scarface? It's a good film. I've not seen any films in a long time actually. When I'm not doing videos, I'm just doing paperwork and practicing bagpipes and stuff like that. So I don't really watch films or TV shows or things like that now. I try and keep time on social media to just when I'm actually recording a video, because I don't really want to.
Now, I didn't catch a word of that, but I'm...
আসসালামু আলাইকুম আমি সবাইকে বাংলাদেশি কমিউনিটি যারা এই নিউহামে বসবাস করেন
We're not saying much for the election.
Forward and Workers' Party.
Hello, Capone.
This area.
These
We
gypsies.
need something to be good for everyone. We need cleaning, not rats, not holes in the roads. We need to change a little bit the area. Please, on the 7th of May, come to vote. Your support will be my...
Why is it not horses on the roads?
On the 7th of May, come to vote. Your support will be my good things in the life. I will be with you for everything. What do you need? The best.
Oh, this is George Galloway's Workers' Party. Is that why he's wearing the hat? Oh my god, man. That's really embarrassing.
Hello, my name is Julian Nister. I'm your candidate for...
Listen to what he says about horses.
Workers' Party.
Is that a Welsh accent? Are you taking the piss, man? Come on.
A bit this area. We need something to be good for everyone. We need cleaning, not rats, not holes in the roads.
Not horses on the roads.
We need to change a little bit the area. Please, on the 7th of May, come to vote. Your support will be my good things in
Guys,
the life.
I don't think he's Welsh.
I will
Okay?
be
I
with
think
you
he's...
for everything.
I think he's a gypsy. But I don't really know.
Here to show full transparency by telling you all that my latest autumn wardrobe has been donated to me by one of my local community leaders. Don't say anything about it. I will have you arrested. Thank you and Allahu Akbar. And I...
We need horses off the roads. We need more horses in our cities. I want to see more horses in Edinburgh. Is anybody here like ride horses or have a horse and cart? I'd happily come and play bagpipes for your entry to Edinburgh. I think that'd be really cool. Tourists would love it. Tourists would love Edinburgh. There's more horses. Have you ever busked in places like Fort William and Oban, or even similar to Ullapool? Nah, I've never really busked in any small places, to be honest. Can we get the news here? Because I'm sick of this nonsense. Is there... Oh, Shetland's trending. Yeah, this story's going pretty big. So these are the polls for Scotland and Northern England as well. Why is Northern England? Okay, anyway. And Northern Ireland. What a weird selection. Let's see. Lib Dems hold Orkney. Big surprise. Looks like they're going to hold Shetland as well. Total votes 10,000. What's the turnout? Wow. Lib Dems got 7,000 votes. Yeah, but the Reform... Oh, they're not that high, to be fair. SNP got 1,600. SNP are doing alright there. I mean, considering how frustrated they are in the Orkneys with the incumbent governments. Hamish Morrison shares all sides are expecting of an SNP win. Both Scottish Labour and Reform think they've got second place. The Scottish picture more generally seems slightly more rosy for Labour, with one source saying English colleagues were going what we went through in 2015 when the party were all but wiped out from the north of the border. SNP insiders think Angus Robertson's lost. That's this guy here. Angus Robertson, they think he is out. Which is a shame. This guy's going to lose his seat. A shame for him. Who's he lost to, though? It's lost to the Greens, yeah. I mean... Okay. Tight race in Glasgow. Just got back from speaking to candidates and activists on the vote count floor. It's a tight race, and even where parties are confident of a win, they think it will be close. Right, so nobody's feeling that confident, I think. Why is this not updated yet? We've got a Lib Dem seat. Who would have known, eh? The first seats we get. Winnipeg Band, we've had multiple incidents where bagpipes and horses did not go well. Yeah, I know. I've heard of such things, but I mean, come on. Your husband doesn't fly to Australia. I was in Australia recently. Royal Britannia. He drinks his iron brew. I don't really drink much iron brew, to be honest. Sorry. Alright, so the election's going on until 6:30. Here's my plan. I think I have a family member who's going to be here and wants to use this room. So I'm going to leave you. Love you to leave you. I'm going to go and take the dog on a walk. I'm going to play bagpipes before I go. So I'll play you some bagpipes now. We can have a little bit of bagpipes and then an interval. And what's going on with this? These results are not here at all. We need to get a different page. Am I allowed to look at this if I don't have BBC? I think this is the only candidate that's got in so far, is the Lib Dems in the Orkneys. They're expected to be the largest party. Yeah, largest party they're going to have. But majority, I don't think they're going to have a majority. I think they'll be reasonably close to. I don't think they're going to have a majority. You're Buchanan. You asked before, but cut it out when you were about to answer the other week. Yes, I am Buchanan. It's not my name, but I am from... Fuck, man, I'm getting angsty. And my head's going, like... bit crazy, a bit loopy. I'm a little bit crazy, guys. I'm going a little bit crazy. Rest in peace, Angus Robertson. This man has lost to the Greens. Can you believe it? The culture, what is he, the culture secretary? Cabinet secretary for Constitution, External Affairs and Culture. And he is losing it. Wait, cabinet secretary? What? That's not an elected... What? Well, it's just cabinet secretary for those things, I suppose. Because the overall cabinet secretary is not elected, right? They're a civil servant. They're a career politician. Not... Ballot box from Bressay. This is the shit I want to be seeing on my Twitter. They've been living since 1999. Wow. SNP just had a really good candidate in Shetland against an unknown Lib Dem. Is that true? I want to see what people in the Shetlands. Why is everyone here talking about the Shetlands? Is there nobody who's in the Shetlands or lives there that's going to say, oh, well, we like this thing about the Lib Dems or something like that? Wow, the southern tip of Greenland sits closer to the equator than the Shetlands. That's mental. I've never been there. I need to go. I really need to go. Because I simply don't have enough awareness of the area. And I have a strong feeling based on quite scant evidence. But I have a strong feeling they're going to be really important going forwards. You know, maybe slightly to do with somebody over in this direction. I don't know if there's somebody over there. I feel like there might be somebody over there that might be slightly important to Shetlands. But, you know, my suspicions hold. a certain person who comes from over here said, in his own words, if he's going to fire nukes, his first target would not be England. Not going to be England. His first target is going to be probably going to be fast lane. Taking the dog out, catch you later, sort of Robin. I'm going to take my dog out as well, but catch you later, Danny. It's going to be the United Kingdom, are his words. The United Kingdom. And if he's going to attack the United Kingdom, which part of the United Kingdom do you think he's going to attack first? Because I have a prediction that it's going to be here. Which is very close to the largest population density area in all of Scotland. The most key place for contemporary Scottish culture. Oh, do we not have a council deficit map for Scotland? Is this it? Interesting. But yeah. Yeah. Ready for some bagpipes? I think we're not going to get much more out of this election in a minute. Are we? Oh, the Edinburgh results are coming through. Right, we're going to take a look at these. Oh, Edinburgh's voting less than the Shetlands are. Shetlands are voting more. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get in results from those places too quickly. You know, one thing I'd like to see, it'd be really cool, if there's a candidate who proposes a nuclear power station, but they're going to build in a beautiful stone building. I think they should build lots and lots of nuclear power stations all in the country and just do one in a really nice stone building that attracts tourists. And tourists will come from all over to come and see a beautiful building, which also just so happens, what a funny coincidence, to be a nuclear power station. I think that'd be a great idea. I would do that. So that's one of my policies. Oh, da 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 da. Are we ready for some bagpipes? I'm feeling very blocked up, so I'm maybe not ready for some bagpipes. This is the broken TV, by the way. I think it still connects to Wi-Fi. It doesn't have an antenna or anything like that. Oh, da, 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 da. Oh man, I don't think I can play right now. I'm in such a deficit. My whole body's feeling so weak, honestly. I'll give it a try. Let's give it a try. Look, if this fails, if I can't play right now, I am very sorry, but that is just purely out of lack of innards. I can't fucking play these. I don't have my earplugs. Let's play some chant here. You've got the flu? I've not got the flu. What do you mean you've also got the flu? I've not got the flu. Fuck off. Right, that's all we're doing. I'm really sorry. The backups are not coming through right now. Yeah, my rhinitis is just not going to be on my side for that. Rhinoceros thing, yeah, rhinitis, yeah. I know, it's a pain. Yeah, sorry, we're not going to get any bagpipes going. It's just not going to happen at the moment. I'm going to apologize to you for that. But I'm going to go on a walk. Going to go and take care of my wonderful little dog. And then I'll come back later on. We can come and check in on the results and see what's happening in the election. I think I've done a fairly good job of managing to, well, avoid the key issues I'm clearly attempting to avoid here. But we'll see. I'm feeling optimistic about our country in general, just because of a small number of great young people that I know. And I think the greatness in this country is definitely not going to come from politicians. It's not going to come from politics. I think it's going to come from the private sector. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we can turn out. Obviously, we'll see what we can do. Thank you very much for coming on. I'll see you all in a few hours. Britannia. All the best.